Hey guys, I'm here in the Ben 10 universe, and recently, Earth has opened itself to full-on human-alien integration in society after the incursion invasion. Now, obviously this is great for universal peace and intergalactic relations, but I see something bigger, an investment opportunity. We can expand our operations and open a full-on intergalactic travel industry. I mean, think about it. How many humans would love to explore space and meet up with so many different aliens and cultures? It would not only be perfect for intergalactic relations, but also perfect to make a huge load of money. Like really, the profit margin is unprecedented. So that's why I'm opening the Star Jump Intergalactic Travel Agency. Perfect for booking any trip to any planet in this galaxy or the next. After all, Ben's going on his intergalactic road trip, why can't everyone else? But we got a problem. I didn't do any research beforehand, so I have no idea what planets are going to vacation to. Yeah, kind of obvious, an oversight before opening this whole thing, but no time like the present. So, we're going to go through the known planets around and rank them for how good they work as vacation spots. And I better hurry up, these customers are getting pretty antsy waiting for so long, so we gotta get into it. Don't worry everyone, I'll be back soon, stay in line. So before we start, we had to establish what exactly we're working towards. As I said, we're going through all the known planets in the Ben 10 universe and rank how well they'd work as vacation destinations. But Ben 10 lore is infamously kinda tricky. There's a ton of planets and worlds established in the franchise, obvious given the whole sci-fi theme and the many species that come from each. But not too many were explored in the actual show, with some details being known from outside content like video games, official cards, writer statement, and show writing. So all of these will be considered for ranking the worlds unless they contradict what happens in the show. I mean, what's Ben 10 without pointless and confusing retcons? Oh yeah, and this is for the classic continuity, not the reboot, so any lore changes done there are not considered for any species. And also, I'm considering this from the point of view of a human from Earth, because it's kind of necessary. I can't really look at it in the perspective of all the other races. Like, a Pyronite is gonna have very different needs in an environment than a Pisces full-on or something. And I'm gonna judge it not only for potential sights or features from the planet that could be good to vacation to or visit like a tourist, but also just by how safe it is for humans to visit. From dangers from the environment to the potential predators, or even if the native species is even willing to tolerate you breathing the same air as them. So basically, an F rank is the worst possible planet you can go to where it's instant death for whatever reason just standing there. A D tier has the planet tolerable, at least with preparation, but far from where you'd be willing to go. C tier is a safer person to go to, but has many problems with it that many would be discouraged. B tier is also safe and potentially have good features you want to visit, but have a few major problems that could cause issue. And A tier is a great vacation spot that's safe and has features that people would want to visit and have a good vacation. I would give S tier, but there's no S tier, honestly. Yeah, I didn't realize it before doing this, but so many Ben 10 planets are complete extremophile environments that very few humans could stay at without help. Which might be obvious with how many aliens had to evolve to survive and gain so many cool unique powers for it. Maybe Earth should be like that. Imagine how many cool powers humans could have gotten. But okay, rules done, let's start ranking some planets. Kinda want to go in chronological order, so let's start with the first planet of our first alien, Heat Blast, whose species comes from the molten planet Pyrus. Now, Pyrus is pretty confusing as has a complete astronomical blunder by whoever wrote the lore, describing it as a fully functional sun. Yeah, despite having a rocky surface, what? Even Derek J. Wyatt wrote more on this, saying that's a very cool star that can stay in a surface. Like, what? That's not how stars work. They're literally masses of nuclear explosions. It cannot have solid matter whatsoever. What are you on about?
What are you on about? The sun can't do a rock, it doesn't have rocks.
Like, this makes absolutely no sense. It is a complete failure of knowing basic astronomy. So I'm gonna say screw the lore and it's just a very molten planet that people think is a star because they're stupid. But yeah, if it's not obvious, even in this case, Pyrus is well described as being a molten hellhole of volcanoes and fire with long lava flows blanketing it. I wonder if the Koras had a similar place. I kind of imagine it being like a volcanic tundra, like an inversion of an Inuit environment. Still, we only know that Pyronites and the predator crab dozer can survive in a molten place, and they're literally solid rocky beings with magma innards. Most organic life is clearly not going to survive here, and even if they do, I doubt they'll have a fun time. So yeah, easy F tier, avoid this location if you value having skin. Next, Vulpin. Now we never see Vulpin in this show, but it does show up as a level in the Vulgax attacks game. Ironic as we see many wild Vulpamancers in the Null Void but not on their home planet. By the way, the Null Void is a dimension and not a planet, so it's not counted. Besides, you expect anything less than F tier? Now, in lore, unfortunately, the Vulpamancers homeworld was used as a toxic waste dump by other species, making it near uninhabitable. Yeah, it kinda makes sense why Wildmutt looks so weird now when they evolved in a nuclear hellhole. I think it's even said they evolved to live in caves, hence the loss of sight and dependence on sound and smell for sonar, and the great dexterity and climbing skill. Probably the only safe space for species to survive since the surface is horrid. And in game, yeesh, yeah, this is a toxic disaster. Pools of poison and mechanical debris and waste you'd never want to get anywhere close. Hell, you had a better experience going to a nuclear dumping ground on Earth. Not to mention the dangerous mutated predators and the inhabitants being one step above feral. Yeah, no doubt F tier. Go here if you want your vacation packed with radiation poisoning. Then we got Petropia. This one actually has a big part in lore and it's kind of dependent on two things. Now, pre-Alien Force, yeah, good luck coming here because, well, the planet got destroyed. The mercenary Tetrax stole a Sega crystal for Vulgax, who proceeded to use its power to blow up the goddamn planet because the citizens refused to surrender to him. Harsh. This meant for a long time Petropia and its citizens were destroyed, and Tetrax was one of the few remaining Petrosapiens alive. However, in the episode Secret of Chromastone, it's revealed the crystal was basically a backup for the planet that could revive it and its people in a solitary alignment, and the power of the planet's guardian, Sugalite, who was storing the Omnitrix in the form of Chromastone. And Ben just managed to succeed and revive the planet and its people, so yeah, let's say this for another F tier. Now, Petropia itself is beautiful, a massive crystalline location that may or not be actual diamonds, giving way to many a breathtaking scenery, and apparently most civilization underground but not really seen. But we don't know how accepting the locals might be to tourists since we know very little on the culture. Apparently it has multiple beings we never see, so like the reboot? Or maybe it's chromosome foreshadowing. And while it may have an atmosphere, I kinda thought there's any form of organic food there, so that's gonna be a problem. I'm going to give it a high B tier, pretty good, but there's probably some major downsides. Next is Kinet, home of the Kinetocelarans. Now, this one is interesting, but we never have seen it in any capacity. Just like the inhabitants, the planet itself is moving at incredible speeds and is charged with super electrical storms as a result. Even in Bandai cards, they describe it that days are just minutes and lifetimes just weeks, jeez. It seems Kinet moves at such velocity that has a temporal effect on the planet, which already makes it difficult enough to travel to, much less stay there. Apparently, because of this, Kinetocelarans get incredibly sick on planets with normal rotation, but that doesn't seem to be a thing by Omniverse. Maybe they take special pills, I don't know. It is another thing that makes me super appreciate Ben 10's world building, why I love it so much. But still, the speed and time dilation, ooh, that's gonna be troublesome. You might be able to survive, but yeah, it's not gonna be a good vacation with so much speed and time manipulation. I gotta give it a D tier. Now, Galvin Prime definitely is one of the most prominent places in the series. Also inhabited by the Galvin, the smartest species shown in the show, being gray aliens fused with diminutive frogs. As such, Galvin is the mark for the most impressive technology and engineering in the series, being able to make sprawling industrial metropolises despite their size. However, that made it a target in the Hybrids' genocide of the galaxy, as destroying it was a top priority to ensure they could not stop them. And yeah, it was destroyed, but seemingly quickly rebuilt, and now is Galvin Mark II. Yeah, these guys can casually just rebuild an entire planet, I'm not kidding. Though the UAF era shows it much more of an urbanized city, Omniverse seemed to show a new side of a kind of organic aesthetic, or at least the location was changed to more of a swamp-like area, fitting for the Galvins. I'm just gonna assume it's like the Galvin equivalent of the suburbs. Now, Galvin seems like a great place to vacation. I mean, who wouldn't want to visit a high-tech metropolis with technology you can't even dream of? Even their predator went extinct long ago. Well, there's one problem. They don't seem to like outsiders much. In The Ultimate Sacrifice, a hologram of Azimuth pretty much said that any unauthorized vehicles will be blasted out of orbit as soon as they got close. And they pretty much deliver on that, and Kevin didn't get much better treatment just getting to the guy. And I just really don't think the Galvins appreciate tourists at all. Hell, Azimuth apparently thinks humans are the most annoying species in the galaxy. Can't really argue. So yeah, maybe if you get a fully authorized vacation area and stuff, you'd be just dandy, but that's a pretty big if. So I gotta give it a B tier. Will be excellent, but I don't know if the locals are gonna be cool with it. Next, Choros, home planet of the Tetramans. Now this one we do see in the show a bit. Choros is very similar to Mars, a near barren red desert environment, and has some of the meanest creatures known around the galaxy calling it home. It's no wonder its dominant species grew to super strong foreign behemoths to survive. Though seemingly Choros is divided into different kingdoms, but we at least see the Redwind Kingdom ruled by King Gar Redwind and his daughter Luma Redwind, also as a galactic warlord. But unlike Vulgax, when he does interplanetary conquering, he's cool. The Redwind Kingdom seems to be a strong and civilized empire, and one of the cooler locations we get to see, so at least there is a well-made civilization to visit. But what elevates it is that we know Choros, or at least this kingdom, does have public expos, with the auto show Kevin and Rook visit. Apparently, Gar is super into cars and stuff. Weird, I feel Tetramans couldn't fit into most cars, but kinda cool. So yeah, they do a form of tourism, as the events seem to invite a lot of people all over the galaxy to get together for car talk. You know, as a car talk reference.
Now that guy drives like my brother. That guy drives like my brother.
But there's some downsides, like we don't know if there are multiple events or sustained tourism in the planet, but there is precedent at least. And also the security is super tight with offenders basically being executed, so you really need to be on your best behavior here. And just Choros in general being filled with incredibly dangerous and hostile wildlife is concerning to stay at. But still, with the president, I can't say it's not B tier in terms of vacation. Then Lepidoptera, home of stinkfly. We know very little of it, only known in outside sources. Apparently though, Lepidoptera is a large swampy planet filled with exotic plants, and even then the Lepidopterans we see work in large hives constantly harvesting plants. So basically they're like giant intelligent bees, but grosser. Now, I would consider this good, but I don't know. I don't think many people would be into the place. Like, it's a giant gross swamp. Who really wants a vacation there? And if there's one thing people hate on vacation, it's bugs. And no doubt giant alien bugs would be awful. Even these bugs you may be able to hold a conversation with, I don't think getting Nickelodeon slime will leave you to have a good time. Not to mention the predator, these guys, the bug lizards. So yeah, you really want to spend your time with alien Komodo dragons with biological smoke machines. And it might be good for some people and perfectly survivable, but honestly, it does not seem like the ideal vacation area. C tier. Next, Pisces, home of Ripjaws. Now this one is kind of confusing how the species evolved, but Pisces has a dedicated episode in Ultimate Alien, showing it's 98% water and 2% land entirely in the center. Somehow this is done with an artificial gravity generator, or else the planet will be destroyed. Yeah, how did anything survive here? I do headcanon that since there was going to be a war between Pisces and Pyrus, that maybe the planet had a surface shell that got destroyed during it, and the species needed the artificial gravity to maintain itself. Also where the species has a bipedal landform. But still, it's insanely hard to stay since it's literally mostly an ocean, so you better bring a scuba suit. And the many oceanic predators are definitely a problem. I only recommend this adult for scuba enthusiasts, which this might be a dream come true. But still, it's hard to give this anything but a D. Then Galvin B, the moon of Galvin and home of the Galvanic mechamorphs. Yeah, a lot of Galvins, but it has one of my favorite origins, where it was actually a lifeless moon that was terraformed by Azimuth himself using advanced nanotechnology to make it inhabitable. But it worked too well, as the nanites grew sapients, becoming their own beings, the Galvanic mechamorphs. Unwilling to take their home, Azimuth let the new species inhabit the world, becoming friendly neighbors and helping out each other in adorable synergy. Well, okay, except for that.
Helix experiment was a success beyond my wildest dreams, and a failure beyond my wildest nightmares.
Now, on the one hand, Galvin B was made to be inhabitable. You know, the food is still probably a problem. And though the mechamorphs seem friendlier than the Galvins when it comes to visitors, I still cannot doubt they'd be that welcoming. Also, like, everything is sentient, so even if they could make a hotel in a bed, it would be really awkward to use. Probably gonna go with C tier. Now to the Inur system, home of the monster aliens. Starting with Ghost Freak's homeworld, Inur Phaetos. It's basically a planetary anomaly, like a spatial rift. We see a chunk of it in Vulgax attacks, but I don't know how canon it is, but look at this place, it's the nightmare world. When the only way life has evolved to survive in it is to literally be dead. That's a bad vacation spot, F tier. Now to Arbururia, the home planet of Cannonbolt. Now, unlike every other place here, Arbururia is described as a lush, pleasant planet, a peaceful world of frolic. With its climate and resources, all creatures lived in harmony. It's even used as a vacation resort by many. Hell, Tetrax's alien costume was used in a festival in Arbururia. So yeah, that's perfect, practically an S tier vacation planet. There's just one problem. It blew up! Yes, the planet and likely the species was completely destroyed by the Great One, a massive alien tick known for eating plants from the inside out until they explode like Krypton. This also means that Cannonbolt is likely extinct, sadly enough. So, unfortunately, thanks to this stupid bug, we lost one of the greatest vacation spots in the galaxy, so that sucks. Had to put it in F tier because, well, it's not a planet anymore. Now, Flora's Verdance. We know very little about Wildbine's home planet, but from cards it's described as an extremely lush jungle, obvious given the inhabitants. And I would count that as a cool vacation spot, at least to visit, but I have reservations. We see wild feral Florana on Xenon, and Papa describes them as very savage and very carnivorous. Am I the only one getting Floran vibes? Now, this is contradicted a bit with Pax, one of the most punchable characters in the show, but as far as we know, he's not a native Florana, so I assume those trial ones are natives. And that dude is super high anyway. And yeah, it's gonna make vacationing there very hard, so D tier. But we're going back to the inner system with Luna Lobo. More of a moon than a planet, it's noted as being a lush forest, ironically one of the more beautiful places in the solar system. Now, it was once detailed that the Loboans were savage, feral hunters, even cannibalistic, but it gets completely retconned by Omniverse. At least on the North Transel, we see Loboans are perfectly normal and reasonable, they're just people. One named Scout even was the system's sole plumber. So yeah, it seems that the Loboans aren't even really a problem. There is one problem I'll get to later, but honestly it'll just make them avoid you more, so B tier. Next, Anur Kufos, home of the Thep Kufon. Described as a horrible, arid wasteland that'll be hard enough to survive in, but it's the fact that it has the most abundant supply of corrodium in the known galaxy that makes it so much worse. Corrodium is an insanely mutagenic material that near instantly mutates any organic life around it or exposed to its radiation, and the Kufon evolved to be the only species completely immune to it. This thing makes uranium look like table salt. So if you want to end your vacation early by becoming a horrific zombie, avoid this place like the plague, F tier. And Anur Transel, which was highlighted a ton in the Omniverse Galactic Monsters arc. It's basically the hub of the entire system, home of the Transilians, and like them is a weird patchwork ecosystem. And oh my god, talk about peak aesthetic. The cool ass gothic Halloween approach is awesome. I just wish like the Bandai card that took advantage of Transilians being the second most intelligent species in the galaxy, but no, Derek J. White just had the retcon it, boo. Come on, we could have had a steampunk gothic horror planet, that would have been the coolest thing ever, I hate it. But still, this place is awesome and I would love to go here. It's perfectly civilized and corrodium doesn't seem to be much of a problem here, since Ben is perfectly fine. The only problem is that they are very xenophobic, not in a bigoted way or a feral way, but due to the lack of contact in the inner system being self-focused horror system, they view normal life, especially humans, as grotesque monsters they fear and hunt down. Like exactly the inverse of the monster trope.
Monster! Horrible fleshy monster!
Now, that would be a problem, but there's a few ways around it. One, the ID mask. This piece of alien technology is seemingly common enough and allows the user to use some unknown cloaking technology to disguise themselves as anything, used frequently by the DNA aliens to seem normal all around the galaxy. So yeah, just wear one and be a monster alien and the locals will have no problem. In fact, why did Ben never use an inert alien form on Transel? It would have made his life so much easier, ugh. But also, if you're ugly enough, the locals will literally have no problem with you. Like Ben gets horrific acne and everyone's cool with him and some even have a crush on him. God, I can go her just fine. So yeah, there's a bit of a problem with the locals, but there's some solutions, so I give it a B tier. Lastly, Anur Vladius. This one has questionable canonicity since it's only established by J.R.J. Wyatt's statement. But after the Vladius became extinct, their home planet became a strange anomaly. Literally nothing could survive on it, nor get close to it. Not even ectoneurites or even celestial sapiens. The entire planet is basically just as vampiric as the species. So you really want to go to the planet that kills you instantly? Yeah, this is a low F tier. Let's finish out the rest of the original series alien worlds with Peptos, home planet of the Gourmands. Well, kinda. There are 63 planets in the Peptos system, seemingly identical, and the Gourmands live on Peptos 13 currently. I say currently because they have all eaten the previous 12 planets. Yeah. So the Gourmands have evolved to basically be able to consume any type of matter and convert it to energy. But Peptos isn't really gonna win any awards, kind of being a gross, almost fleshy landscape. Apparently it was retconned from the Bandai cards, but the show takes priority. Unless it was a lot more vibrant and this is just what happened to it. Still though, the Gourmands really don't see much for infrastructure and the landscape is off-putting to say the least. And the fact that it can literally just be eaten away at a moment's notice, so D tier. Hathor, the home planet of the Splixons. We have basically no information about it, aside from pop-up saying it's very Earth-like, so that's good. But it also has seemingly a lot of predators. I don't know what they bother humans though, so that's concerning. I have basically nothing, so like, I guess B tier? I don't know. Now Cytra, home of the Opticoids. We only know this by an Omniverse writing Bible, where Cytra is a gelatinous planet where most of the species are invertebrates. The Opticoids are the most rigid and they're more like densely packed cartilage. It's so bad any off-worlders instantly get glorped and never seen again. Yeah, let's not stay at the Jello planet, F tier. To Xenon, I guess. Not a home planet, but it's where Azimuth hid out in his exile. Azimuth did everything to ensure he would never be found and made just getting to the planet absolute hell, hiding its location, absorbing all light around it, the planet surrounded by asteroids, and even if you do land, good luck surviving the hostile Florana. This planet is regarded as the most dangerous planet in the galaxy with a million horrible legends around it, and no one in their right mind would vacation here, F tier. Next, Zenelli, the home planet of Varshaguana. We know very little about them, but their planet was in the Omniverse writing Bible like Cytra. being in the Goldilocks zone, like Earth, having incredible biodiversity, but no tilt so climate is maintained year-round. So much that it encourages many other mandrill species, so a lush diverse ecosystem with no noted downsides or predators. Granted, a lot of this is wishful thinking, but since there's no evidence to the contrary, I would say A tier, our first one, no bad thing about it. Though I am reminded of the Ink Tanks and Beyond series diving into different alien worlds, and it did a huge episode on Zenelli, coincidentally making it a huge tourist location and making up all the other mandrill species we never see. It's amazing, check it out, I love it. And Earth. Now it may seem redundant, but hell, if Earth is really this open, why can't I have interstellar travel to here? After all, there are these Earth tourists in alien communities like Undertown, why not? Now, Earth, like Zenelli, has a ton of biodiversity in different environments, locations, and cultures, perfect for tourism. It would seem an A tier, but there are some problems. One, there are some alien races out there, like the Forever Knights and Willarang, starting multiple hate and even genocide campaigns against all aliens. Not to mention the American government uses Area 51 as an alien Guantanamo Bay, so there could be some troubles from the less tolerant. And also I feel that aliens would be like super judgy at us at our pathetic level 2 technology level and ashamed at our history and accomplishments, so maybe they don't want to come here. Hell, as with what's called Earth, a pathetic backwater planet a few centuries ago. Plus the fact that Earth is constantly targeted and doomed every other week makes a vacation very dangerous potentially. But, you know, Ben 10 lives there and there's smoothies, so I guess B ranks fair enough. Now Methanos, home of swamp fire. We know very little about it, but Koras and extra sources say it's a thick, muddy swamp planet filled with methane and other toxic gases. So yeah, that alone turns many people off. As well as the constant fires and explosions that have resulted from said methane buildup. When the official source says that non-native survival is near impossible, what else can I say? F tier. Sonarosia, home planet of Echo Echo. Again, we have very little, but from what is gathered, it's described as having deep and beautiful canyons that species use to amplify their sonar and echoes. Pretty interesting. And since the Grand Canyon is a huge tourist location, I mean alien cans would no doubt be good. But I don't know the intricate dangers and civilizations around, so B tier. Then Pterodino, homeworld of Humongosaur, and by writer's statement, Astrodactyl 2. Makes sense. Pterodino didn't show up in the show, but was a level in Vulgax attacks. There, it's like the other statements of being a lush jungle-like planet similar to late Cretaceous Earth, implying some convergent evolution going on. And similarly described with a ton of biodiversity, even with sapient races, apparently even the plumber file stated would be a great vacation spot. Now, society can be an issue, but that's addressed, as societies have been warring for long. But the Vaxasaurians use their sheer size and powers to maintain a peace, though rocky. So yeah, it's technically peaceful, at least somewhat. It would basically be like Jurassic Park. But there is one problem. Like Jurassic Park, there's predators. We don't see many, but we see the Tyrannopede is the natural predator of the Vaxasaurians. Vaxasaurians can do this. Yeah, that's a nightmare being hunted by a centipede Tyrannosaurus Rex fusion, not to mention the other hostile life. Maybe you could get around that, but it's definitely a problem, so all in all, B tier. Next, Kemis, home planet of Big Chill. No, not McDilty, that was just a place that had Necrophagians. Regarded as a frozen wasteland after a cataclysm, the only way creatures have managed to survive is to evolve to literally face with their environments. The only way they survive the planet is to literally not be a part of it. And if that's not bad enough, they have a giant hypnotism carnivorous moth thing as the predator, and it affects multiple life forms. Yeah, no one's gonna want to come here willingly, F tier. Aeropelia is the home planet of Jet Ray. Now, as you'd expect from a flying manta ray, this planet is fully aquatic, evolving to live in the sea and sky. Basically Pisces, but probably worse, not to mention the mention of hurricanes on the planet. I guess it might not be as bad as Pisces, but we don't exactly know, so we gotta get the same rank, D. Arachnosia, finally a planet we actually see in the show. Just as you'd expect from Spider Monkey, the Arachnochimps live in massive jungle environment, having their incredible agility to stick and climb up trees. Though what we see in the civilization, it looks very Ewok-like. Apparently they have some interstellar rates, but I kinda think that's just because of Simeon himself. Now, it seems fine to vacation to. I mean, sure, there are crime lords and the occasional alien parasite invasion, but it doesn't seem too bad. Well... yeah, this place is some freaking nasty predators that force the Arachnochimps to live in trees to survive. You want a vacation with this thing? That really drives it down. You might survive, but it's not worth it. C tier. And Sephalonus 4, home of Brainstorm. We see it a bit in the show, but really get a look in Vulgax attacks. Home to the second smartest species, obviously it's going to have impressive infrastructure. We do see a swampy look in the show, but it could very easily just be the surface, and the game show a Jetsons like high city in the sky. It has very impressive architecture and technology, and no doubt would be a joy to go through and probably less security than the Galvins. They do have a predator of the Visipus, but considering their infrastructure, it looks like they're not much of an active danger. I wonder why didn't they exterminate them, but maybe they're a keystone species. So yeah, honestly I can't think of many downsides except for maybe the crowds being all smug about their intellect to others, so I guess A tier.
I'm implying that I'm smarter than you because my brain is bigger.
Let's take a bit of a break from home planets and go to a separate planet, Turawas. This is an alien hellhole of an inhospitable desert filled to the brim with carnivorous and hostile arthropod aliens that seemingly will eat literally anything. Food and water is scarce and it's uninhabited by any known sapient species, only used as a teleporter relay. It's so bad that Ben and a hybrid are forced to work together to survive, and hybrids despise any race that's not their own. Granted, this really helped out in the long run, but still. Absolute F tier, no question. Then, McDy, a planet that's in strange equilibrium following its sun, where half of it is molten hot and the other half at night is frozen solid. Fire and ice, good lord, slap a pair of sunglasses on it and you got my whole aesthetic. The only known species to inhabit it without any external help are the Necrophrygian, which we already established have evolved to become immune to temperature in general. It's so inhospitable and hostile that it was used to hide a piece of the map of infinity so no one could reach it. As much as I think this place is kinda cool, and biased, it needs F tier. Now to Ablexia, home of one of the most popular aliens, Wrath. Now, we know very little about it. Apparently it's kinda cold and being led by some supreme commanders. They also wear clothes, and with UAF's tendency of relying purely on the Negi for its aliens, that means the Apoplexians have to see their species represented as a naked teenager running around. Now, it's barely anything to work off of, but good lord, this place is dangerous. Imagine going to a world of the most hyper-aggressive, violent aliens known to the galaxy. Literally anything can and will piss them off, and they will solve it through violence. You're screwed, man. Do not come here if you value your limbs. F tier.
X will squish your women and children between graham crackers and turn them into s'mores. They will be delicious!
Similarly speaking, Ostaka, home of the hybrids. Yeah, those genocidal a-holes, so it says with genetic purity, they're literally dying off because of it. And they seek to exterminate all other forms of life to take the galaxy down with them. It's insane, they're little space Nazis. You want to go to the space Nazi planet where they hate all life that isn't them, be my guest, but I'm not going there. F tier. What can be worse? Vulgaxia. Vulgax literally conquered his home planet and named it after himself. Despite that, the planet seems fine under his rule, prosperous society and infrastructure, even if before it was stated it was a horrifying military regime. So I guess Vilgi did some serious reforms in his day and the citizens seem to love him. It kinda makes you think of him as like a space Genghis Khan, a horrible gruesome warlord to outsiders but a respected ruler to his people, kind of interesting. But no one is going to go straight up to Vulgax's home turf. No one is ever going to willingly go there, and you are sure as hell not getting out. F tier, what else? Now, Panapage. We don't get to have a good look at it, but at least seems decently developed around, and having well-made infrastructure. Yet the inhabitants seem to be massive double-life behemoths. They might eat people, but I don't know. But there is one thing we know they eat.
Isn't that lovely?
Yeah, eating babies is a delicacy. What the hell?
Thought it was a peace offering! Plus a rare delicacy. That's what a peace offering is here on my planet.
Now, nothing seriously wrong with the planet is shown, but like, do you really want to go to the planet where they eat babies? I don't want to go to the planet where they eat babies. D tier. Primus. Like Xenon, it's another world Azimuth takes up inhabitants that's basically like a mainframe for the Omnitrix. Now, unlike Xenon, it's not a terrible inhospitable world Azimuth intentionally made to be a death trap, but it's still very inhospitable with its entire purpose being to catalog and back up DNA. And Azimuth especially is going to let tourists visit while he's around, so low D tier, I guess. That world from Simple, god, it's terrible. Not only is it constantly warring, but everyone on the planet is a complete idiot. If you don't die from the weaponry, you'll want to die dealing with these morons. The only redeeming quality is this dog alien kind of looks like Stitch and that's cute. F tier. What's this? Maxwell? Home planet of Lodestar, my least favorite alien.
No time to shake down a new guy.
What name is Maxwell? That's not the name of a planet, that's the name of a guy. Hey everyone, we're going to vacation to Planet Steve. I don't care what the planet's like. If it has thousands of these guys, that's the last place I want to go. I'd rather vacation to the surface of the sun. F tier in principle. Now to ultimate alien, Kisuena, home of water hazard. Now, Andromeda might be a bit too far to vacation to, but I feel we can do it. Now, it's described as a completely arid desert, but that's what makes Orison so special, with their ability to create water through oxygen and hydrogen in the atmosphere, revealed almost as gods for their ability to make water for the other inhabitants. So, we don't have much, but it doesn't really sound like a nice place to go to, so D tier. Next, Aldabra, home of Terraspin. We do see a good chunk of it in the show itself. It's a very peaceful, lustrous grass planet with rolling hills and plateaus, making it a very scenic set piece. It's stated to have pleasant climate and temperature year-round, and cards do confirm they have some infrastructure of architectural wonders blending harmoniously with the environment, with actual camouflage technology. Sounds great. It's no wonder the Geocaline Aereo species grew to be very pacifist philosophers that have even come up with lying or crimes. Oh, okay, this guy did commit genocide, but he did it in other dimensions, so that doesn't count. So yeah, no problems, closest landscapes and infrastructure, pleasant locals minus that guy. It's pristine vacation area, like just imagine having a picnic here, it would be fantastic. The only problem I can possibly think of is maybe there's no other food than grass, but who knows, maybe they grow root vegetables. What else but A tier? Then Prypatos, home of the Prypatosian bees, Prypatosian A's if you believe the fan theory. Again, never seen, but it was once a sprawling mega civilization of the galaxy until nuclear war erupted, causing some survivors to retreat in underground sanctuaries becoming Prypatosian A's, while others mutated on the surface wasteland becoming radioactive beings called Prypatosian B's. Wait, this is literally just Fallout, what the hell? Mega civilization, nuclear war, mutated overworld people, and pure people living underground. But like Fallout, if you really want to spend your vacation in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, and I doubt they have Nuka World there, go ahead, but regardless, F tier. Boana Lunkus, I really hope I said that right. Home of Armadillo. This was retcon, as in the cards, the Talipans were said to live in an asteroid belt, but in the show, it's just a massive desert. Maybe it's a desert in an asteroid. But yeah, we already see it's a sandstormy desert wasteland, and we never see what civilization lies under. But we do know what does lie under. The slamworm is the predator of the species. This thing is terrifying, it's even worse than Turawas worms. You thought the graboids from Tremors were bad, try one the size of a dune sandworm. Yeah, nothing about this planet is redeemable, F tier. And Teslos, home of Amphibian. Again, not seen, but it's described as a fully gas planet with no surface with powerful electromagnetic fields. Yeah, that's a deal breaker. Can't even land on this planet, F tier. And Pattersonia, home of Shock Squatch. Now, from this point forward, we have absolutely no information on many other alien worlds, but this was described in the Omniverse doc. The planet's ecology is not noted, but presumably it's a dense woodland. But what is described is the blue star it rotates around gives off so much radiation it compresses the magnetic field, exposing the planet's day side to lethal levels of radiation. Fun. Luckily, the planet rotates so slowly the Gimlinopithecus are able to keep a nomadic lifestyle traveling around the inhabitable zone, with their electrical fur protecting them temporarily from the radiation and cold of the night side. Also was earlier described as like Ontario without Toronto. So, do Canadians have to deal with lethal radiation? But yeah, though the natives managed to make it work, this clearly is not going to work for us. Too much radiation around these parts, F tier. Now Atrocious 0, homeworld of the Atrocians and Ballweevil. From statements, it's been described that the Atrocians are such horrible slobs that they filled their world with grime and trash. That Ballweevil species literally evolved to pick up trash and destroy it. God, imagine being in so much garbage, an entire species evolves to make it manageable. I swear, at this rate, dung beetles are gonna evolve to become just as big to get rid of our trash. Apparently it's been abandoned thousands of years ago, so yeah, it's literally made inhospitable. If that's not bad enough, there's also Ballweevil's predator, Tarantula. So giant carnivorous spiders are another feature. Yeah, I don't think we expect anything less from a planet literally named Atrocious, F tier. Terminus 3. Not only is this place inhospitable, it's in incursion territory, which will ensure going here while the Armada try to blast you out of the sky before you get close. But even the air is so deadly, it will kill you in hours once you get the venom of this badly drawn bug. This place is almost as toxic as Bendikai's relationship, F tier. Nemuinos 4, home of the Nemuinas. Now, we only know this from Jared J. Wyatt's statements, but he describes it as a sparkling world of giant mushrooms, flowers, and caterpillars. The Nemuinas live in harmony with nature in half-awake, half-dreamlike states. Sounds very nice and magical. I'm gonna assume looks like that one time of Pokemon Sword and Shield that's lovely to vacation to. The only concern I feel is Nemuinas using their powers to mess up your mind, but I kinda thought they'd do that, at least maliciously. I'm going A tier, we know very little else about it. But now to a planet we've seen extensively, Ravana. It is the home planet of Rook. We know a lot about Ravana-Gander culture, being very rural people utilizing as minimal technology as possible, trying to maintain tradition and way of life. Still, it is a relatively peaceful life where most just harvest their crucial crop Arbururia and ward out the muroid pests. Muroids are more of a nuisance than a threat, so I can't count them as a danger. And Arbururia is used in virtually every aspect of their life, and it's very valuable out of world. There's really nothing wrong with this planet. The only thing I can see being a problem is the locals being unwilling to have new people visiting. They didn't even really like Ben visiting.
Entire of Anagandur Way has been corrupted. My own sun is destroying a balance that has existed since history began.
But we do know they accepted at least one active plumber, and the newer generation seems much more open to the outer universe. Just the old boomers really trying to stick to the old way, so maybe there's gonna be a massive change.
Sending one child off-world was bad enough. Now another?
Master?
That is not our way!
So, yeah, I gotta say A tier, really. On the other side, there's Sangarosia, homeworld of Kyber. Our only information comes from Omniverse docks, said to hold a massive mining operation and practically a planetary penal colony. It's completely inhospitable, likely due to the mining destroying the planet's ecology and resources, to the deadly acid storm and toxic gases emerging below. It's full of slaves and criminals forced to work and likely die for it, and it's unknown if Kyber was a slave or one of the slave masters. Yeah, I'm not putting a horrible, deadly prison planet as a vacation spot F tier. So let's end this off with one more A tier. So what alien does it belong to? I mean, it has to be cool. Well, is the home planet of Walkatrout? Yes. The most memed on, pathetic, useless alien, Ice is a pretty great homeworld in my eyes. We only know this through Jar J. Wyatt's statements, but it's called the Gilliperambulus Promenade. They live on a planet with naturally occurring sidewalks, and the fact that the species is both aquatic and bipedal implies it's filled with deep ponds and oceans with plenty of sandy shores around. There's even vegetation, so it's not all oceanic, implying a much more tropical location. And it's also noted for having the most sidewalks of any known civilization, implying a ton of infrastructure and resources and features within walking distance. Honestly, this place sounds like a really great vacation, a beast-like planet filled with deep natural occurring pockets of water, nice vegetation and shorelines, and everything you need within walking distance. Like, this is it, this is the prime vacation spot. And there's no negative statements on the contrary, so yeah, I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna say the Promenade is an A tier vacation spot. So, now that I got all my planets done, might as well make a tier list. But I don't have fitting pictures of all the planets it's been anywhere and shown, so I'll just post the corresponding inhabitants. Hope no one takes this out of context. God, I gave more F's out than Denzel Crocker. But still, our galaxy-wide getaway finally has some established locations to go to, so I can finally get to work. And by that, I mean stay here in the beautiful world of the Promenade. Sandy beaches, pleasant weather, a lot of friggin' sidewalks. What more can you ask for? For an off-world vacation. After all, it's summer vacation back home. Let's take advantage of it. This guy changes to more appropriate summer attire. Wait, you thought I was shirtless this whole time? Nah, man, I've been wearing a black t-shirt. Shows what you know.
The giant enemy spider.